Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Matajis. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita summary study program. We are in chapter 11. We completed 10 chapters. Um, my name is Patita Pavana Balram Das. I am from the Bhakti Vriksha team. Let me share my screen. I'm having some trouble with the control screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Can someone confirm so we can get started?
Yes, Prabhuji. We can see.
Okay, thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna.
So, yeah, thank you. We are in this Gita Gyan. Gyan means knowledge. From the Bhagavad Gita, we are going to take the essence on a high level, the important topics. Because if we try to understand everything, then it will take even one chapter will take a few days, even like multiple days, because we can spend even one full hour in one verse itself. And before we discuss about any spiritual topics, we say a few prayers to seek the mercy of the Supreme Lord and His devotees and Vaishnavacharyas. Please say along with me because you can see the mantras. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Namo
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare Hare Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare. So we are dedicating this program to His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is the founder Acharya of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are inspired to do this program by His Holiness Japatak Swami. He is a senior member in ISKCON and is also a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. We are starting this each class with the glorification of Gita by taking the references from various scriptures and songs and things composed by other acharyas. So we'll read one more glorification of Gita. Anyone wants to read the verse and translation? Okay, you can say after me. Gita Chayenapi
गीतादितचायेनापि
Bhakti Bhavena Chetasa
भक्तिभावेन चेतसा
Veda Shastra Puranani
वेदशास्त्रपुराणानि
Tena Ditani Sarvasaha.
तेन हितानि सर्वसः.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
The study of the Vedas and Puranas, verily, the study of all scriptures is completed in all respects by one who studies the Gita with devotion. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. So, what we can understand, we have been discussing, right? Gita is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So, the study of Vedas and Puranas, basically the study of all scriptures, is completed in all respects if one only studies the Gita with devotion. That is the qualification, right? For us to understand Gita, the main qualification is we have to accept Krishna, at least theoretically, that he is going to be he's the supreme Lord, and even though his presence is not felt in our life practically yet, at least theoretically, if we start, then that is invoking the devotion, and immediately that will take us forward um, in the path of self-realization, and we'll start seeing Krishna more and more in our life. We'll do a quick recap after chapter 10. Anyone remembers the name of chapter 10?
Opulence of the Absolute.
Nice. 3 times Hari Bol to Archisha Mate.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol, Hari Bol, Hari.
Hari Bol.
So after
Vibhuti
the
Nama Yoga.
yes, after chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge is revealed. Chapter 10 is in which Arjuna asks him, I want to know about your glories. Why is that? Because even in the current world, if we know someone, and if we like someone, and if we know the great things about them, the good things that they do and all, our affection, our love, or the relationship with us becomes more stronger, and we love them even more. So same thing, like in this case, Arjuna is asking Krishna, I want to know more about your opulences. So Krishna starts revealing his opulences. First of all, we have been seeing, right? Krishna is called, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said Shri Bhagavan Vacha always, whenever Krishna is speaking. The definition of Bhagavan is, he has all the 6 opulences in full. What are those 6? All strength, all wealth, all fame, all knowledge, all beauty, and all renunciation. And Krishna has exhibited all of this when he was present in this world. And then what Krishna says, he is the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. Everything comes from him only. And when the wise know that, they immediately engage in devotional service with all their hearts. So originally there is Krishna, and from him Mahavishnu is an expansion, and Mahavishnu is the personal expansion of Krishna who agitates this material world. And from each of these force, just like we have unlimited number of spiritual planets, also there are unlimited number of material universes. So we are in one universe, but in from each pore, the pore, right? On the skin you have different pores from which the hair is coming. Like that, from every pore of Mahavishnu's body, one universe comes out. When he breathes out, all these universes come out. When he breathes in, all the universes go inside his body. And once these universes are appeared, he again glances these universes, and in that glance, all the living entities are filled up with this universe. What we have to understand from that is that we can't even estimate the extent of this cosmic manifestation, whether in the material world itself we are struggling, then imagine the spiritual world. And Mahavishnu, one other characteristic we discussed is he is completely impartial. So the whole purpose of this creation is that he will give the opportunity for all the living entities who want to enjoy separately from Krishna, separately from staying away from the spiritual world. We all are rebellious. We want to enjoy ourselves. So Mahavishnu takes up that responsibility. He, as an expansion of Krishna, one of the main thing is he as an officer, like just like we discussed, right? I am like a person in my family member in my house. I go and work in the office. I work, my mood and how I behave will be different. So the same thing. Each of the avatars of Krishna have a different mood. The expansion of Krishna as Mahavishnu, he is completely impartial. He is not partial. He will not be partial to anyone. So that's why we see in each of these universes there is both good and bad. And if you are desiring something strongly, that will happen. Even if you are desiring something very badly, you will be able to do those bad things. But of course, whenever the bad increases, Krishna will come as an avatar to set the things right. And he will come as either Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Vamana, Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar. Like Krishna himself will come, and in Kali Yuga he will also come as Kalki. So in order for us to get the shelter of the Supreme Lord, we just have to approach one of the expansions of Krishna and we'll get the mercy. And the Chatushloki we discussed is the Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana, means what is the relationship we must establish with the Supreme Lord? What is the process of once we understand or know that relationship, and what is the result of the outcome that comes? And the pure devotees always dwell in the thoughts of Krishna, and they fully dedicate their life in his service, and with great satisfaction. Means Tushyanticha Ramanticha, means it's not like something mundane where we have to. Because if you take the material world, the master servant relationship is very not so enjoyable. The servant keeps on serving with all their energy. In return, they get nothing, right? But on the other hand, when we are engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, everything is blissful. We get transcendental bliss in return, because Krishna is ultimate, and anything that is absolute will also be giving the same absolute nature, which is even the service to Krishna will also be blissful. And then what is the other thing? He's saying that whoever is constantly devoted and serving Krishna in love, Krishna gives that understanding. With the question that we discussed, right? Some people might think, how are these devotees directly engaging in the service of Krishna without going through the process of learning Vedas, Upanishads, or doing this Ashtanga Yoga, or even doing some for a few years about Karma Yoga? And without knowledge, how are they doing? But Krishna says, once you take up Krishna consciousness, that understanding he will give from within. And how? He gives them special mercy. With special mercy, he being dwelling in everyone's heart, he destroys all the ignorance and gives knowledge. And that happens automatically. And then Arjuna comes to the realization that Krishna, he glorifies him by saying, Param Brahma Parandama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, and Purusham Shaswatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. He's saying that you are the ultimate. It's not just me telling. All the great sages and acharyas, they also confirm that this truth is about you, and declaring now Krishna with his opulences, he declared it himself. And we discussed about so many things that Krishna gave, that it is him, it is him, it is him. But also we see that in the important thing he says, Yagnanam Japa Yagnosmi, means of all the yagnas, Krishna himself is the Japa Yagna. That's why chanting of the holy name is very, very important. And of course, of all the vibrations, he is the transcendental Om. Of all the sacrifices, he is and of the Vedas, he is the Samaveda, which is composed with very musical notes. Now we'll go to chapter 11. The thing we are all very much aware of when we say Bhagavad Gita, what is the thing we know first? The Vishwaroop, right? The universal form. So this chapter is where Krishna will reveal his universal form to Arjuna. So Arjuna starts off saying that, oh Krishna, after hearing by hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. So as Krishna mentioned that he within the heart will dispel that ignorance and illusion, Arjuna is confirming that everything is now dispelled. But he's saying, oh lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. So from chapter 2 onwards, Krishna gave the way that how the living entities are appearing in this world and disappearing. The soul really doesn't die. And he goes on to tell about devotional service and all these opulences. Then Arjuna is again continues to say, Evam etad yatatatvam
एवं एतद् यथात्वम्
atmanam parameshwara
आत्मानं परमेश्वर
drastum ichchami te rupam
Drastum Ichnami Te
Rupam
Aishwaram Purushottama.
Aishwaram Purushottama.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours.
Jay, thank you. So what Arjuna is asking is, Krishna, I now wish to see that form, through which form you entered into this cosmic manifestation, the whole material manifestation that we can see around us. And it continues, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of the mystic power, then kindly show me that ultimate universal form. So that is the attitude of a person who is approaching a person who is seeking spiritual knowledge. We should first put in the request, and then we should also say, it is ultimately your mercy. You can answer my question, or you don't want to answer the question. I completely accept as is. So Krishna is saying, Arjuna is saying, oh Krishna, I wish to see your that universal form, but if you think I can behold that your universal form, please show me. Then Krishna replies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied, divine, and multicolored forms. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumaras, and all other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard before. So, what did Krishna tell in chapter 10? All the opulences he described. Now he is going to show that, where he said that he is of all the Rudras, he is Shiva, of all the Adityas, he is Vishnu, Ashwini Kumaras, Vasus, everyone. He told that I am this, right? Now he is going to show that to Arjuna. Ihaikastam Jagatkritznam
Ihaikastam Jagat Krishnam
Pashyadya cha Characharam
पश्याद्यचराचरम्
Mama Dehe Gudakesha
मामदेहे गुणाकेश
Yaschanyadrastum Ichasi.
यश्चान्यद्द्रष्टुम् इच्छति
Natumam Shakyase Drastum
न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम्
Anenaiva Swachakshusha
अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा
Divyam Dadamite Chakshuhu
दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः
Pashyame Yogamaishwaram.
पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्
Anyone wants to read the translation for these two verses?
O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place, but you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence.
Jai, thank you. So what we can understand here is multiple things. Krishna is the past, present, and future. He is everything. So he is going to show what was going to happen in the future also to Arjuna. Similarly, everything that is moving and non-moving in this material world is also what is going to Arjuna will be able to see in one place. And the main thing is, people will say, if there is God, why I am not able to see God? Forget about God. If you are watching at the sky, you see an airplane going. After a few seconds, it goes even further. We cannot even see the aeroplane, right? So it becomes so small. Our eyes, our senses are limited. How do we expect to see that the Supreme Lord? How he is not able? Why he is not showing to me? Why has the Supreme Lord has to show? First of all, if we know the reason why we are here, then it is us who did not want to see the Supreme Lord. Now, if we want to see the Supreme Lord, then how much effort we have to put. So two things are mentioned. Let's say if you want to meet the Prime Minister of a country, or like in this USA, President of a country, can you go and see automatically? Can you go, hey, I'm going to come, I'm going to come and meet you. Will it happen? No, right? Similarly, uh, why it doesn't happen? Because what is your qualification? For example, if you are a great scientist, then that might happen easily, where you found something. Let's like this guy Elon Musk, right? Who did not have any political background, but he was able to meet the incoming president. How? Because he was having that qualification where he got visibility into that. So same thing, just for in the case of a president or a prime minister of like in case of India, you cannot just meet Modi like that. You need both effort or qualification, and both. If neither is there, how can we see them? Effort means we can put effort to try to understand who are the people surrounding the president or prime minister, try to get their contacts and reach them and have serve them, and then once they know that we are qualified to meet, and they will let us try to arrange for that. That takes some time. So just in the case of material world itself, somebody is like that. How can we imagine, say, oh, I'm this great person, God has to appear before me? No, it doesn't work that way. We have to put effort. We have to put effort in the sense like we need to do something that takes us toward closer to the Supreme Lord, and we have to become qualified. And the qualification will come to us when we approach, just like we approach the people surrounding the great person. There are so many people who have already seen God, and we, like the spiritual masters, we have to approach them. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, right? We have seen that in chapter 4, text 34, that we have to approach them in a humble state of mind. So there are generally three categories of people. Category one is the sages and acharyas have established that God exists. Some people who will just believe in that, and they will put in effort right away in understanding God and do the devotional service. Second category of people is all of us, where we say, I don't want to believe. I just want to first understand there is God. No, I want to see God before I believe Him. But of course, for them, the thing that is put forward is, okay, are you qualified? Did you put any effort towards it? Then people, those category people understand, yes, you're right. I did not put any effort. Uh, Effort is required, and I don't think I'm qualified to see God. God means He is all everything, but I am a limited person. How can I think that God will appear before me without any effort and qualification? But there is the third category of people who say that, oh, you tell all these things, I still don't believe God. And it's like saying it's when you say I don't believe in God, essentially you're saying that I believe there is no God. So you still are believing something, that there is no God. Essentially, it is your own religion again. When you say religion, right, it is something you have a belief. The atheistic religion is their belief is there is no God, and they are closed in their mind. There is a nice uh, anecdote that goes with it. Like there was a person who goes to a barber, like a saloon, to get his beard trimmed, shaven, and the barber being barber is an atheist, and this guy is a theist who believes in God. And the argument about whether God exists or not comes into picture, or comes to the discussion. And the barber is with a knife trying to shave, right? And the person who is sitting there is a little afraid. Oh, what is afraid in the sense like the knife is on his neck. He did not want to argue, but and the argument goes that the question comes up, why don't you believe in God? The barber says, if there is God, why there is so much suffering in this world? We see like so many countries fighting with each other. Everybody is like that. I mean, there is so much, even if there is we are not in the country that is fighting, we have so many miseries. The barber says, if there is God, why is he letting all those miseries come to us? And on the other hand, the theist knows that it is us who is creating our suffering to each other, the klesha. We create our own anxieties, we create anxieties for the others. And there are these demigods who also create anxieties if we are not fulfilling our duty. Annat bhavanti bhutani, if we don't perform yagnas to satisfy them. Anyway, so after the shaving is done, but the person goes outside, and after a few seconds, he comes out and says, um, there are no barbers in this world. the barber is like surprised. I just shaved your beard, and you are saying there are no barbers. How you are saying that? He takes the barber outside and he shows, see, outside there are so many people who have long beards. If there are barbers in this world, why are they having beards? Then the barber says, person, man, like if those persons are not approaching me, how can I shave their beards? Then he says exactly the same. If you are not approaching God, how are you going to expect that God will come and solve your problems? It is us who are not bringing the Supreme Lord into our life and suffering all those miseries. Yeah, we can do karma yoga and we can do karma and we can fulfill all our desires. But the peace will only, happiness might come, that happiness is only temporary happiness. Permanent happiness and real peace will come only if our miseries is also gone, and our miseries will be gone only if we invite the Supreme Lord into our life. And that is not possible by just not putting any effort. We have to put some effort, and when the Supreme Lord comes, he will give us the divine vision, divine understanding, divine knowledge for us to be able to perceive the Supreme Lord. And then we will realize that the Supreme Lord's hand is helping us in every step of the way. And Arjuna is again glorifying after seeing the universal form. Aneka Vaktra Nayanam,
Anekavaktranayanam,
Anekadbhuta Darshanam,
అనేక అద్భుత దర్శనం
Aneka Divyavaranam,
అనేక దివ్యాభరణం
Divyanekodhyatayudam,
దివ్యానేకోద్యతాయుధం
Divyam Malyambaradaram,
దివ్యమాలాంబరధరం
Divyagandhanulepanam,
దివ్యగంధానులేపనం
Sarvashcharyamayan Devam,
సర్వాశ్చర్యమయం దేవం
Anantam Vishwatomukham.
అనంతం విశ్వతోముఖం.
Anyone wants to read the purport? Sorry, translation.
Arjuna saw in the universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding.
Yeah, thank you. So we can see there are so many expansions, like so many mouths, so many ornaments, weapons, and Arjuna is shocked to see that because there is no limit. It is ever all expanding, and he could not see um, the Adi Anta and in the middle. So he could not see where is it starting, where is it ending, where is the middle also. Tatraikastam Jagat Krishnam
Tatraikastam Jagat
Krishnam
Pravibhaktam Anekada
Prabhaktam Anekada
Kada
Apashyad Deva Devasya
Apasya
అపస్య దేవదేవస్య
Sharire Pandavastada.
Sharire
పాండవస్తదా.
Translation, anyone?
At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many thousands.
He could see everything in one place. Yeah, because he has the divine eyes. With the current eyes, we cannot even imagine how this grand, huge universe can appear in one place. But if we have the divine vision that the Supreme Lord, anything is possible for the Supreme Lord, and he can give us that vision where we can perceive. But otherwise, we really cannot see. Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna Vacha
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe
Pashyami Devam Stava
Devadehe
Sarvam Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan
Sarvam Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sangham
Brahmanam Isham Kamalasanastam
ब्रह्माणम् ईशं कमलासनस्थं
ऋषींश सर्वान् उग्रांश दिव्यान्
ऋषींश
उरगांश दिव्यान्.
सर्वान् उग्रांश दिव्यान्.
Yeah, in translation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents.
Yeah, going back to chapter 10, right, where Krishna says he is Brahma, he is Shiva, he is all the serpents, he is the multi-hooded Ananta. Arjuna is able to see them all again. Rupam mahatte bahuvaktra netram
Rupam
रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्र नेत्रम्
mahabaho bahurupadam bahurupadam
महाबाहो
बहुबाहुरुपादं
बहुबाहुपादम्
bahudaram karalam
बहूदरं
बहूदरं
बहुदंष्ट्राकरालं
बहुदांस्त्रकरालम्
दृष्ट्वा लोका प्रव्यस्तितास्तथाहम्
दृष्ट्वा
लोका
लोका
प्रव्यथितास्तथा
प्रव्यास्तथादम्.
Yeah, translation.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with the demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I.
Jai, thank you. So basically, looking at the universal form, what the feeling that Arjuna is God is a kind of fear, because the disturbance, he is disturbed by to see that form, and when this universal form is being displayed, the demigods in the higher planets also saw this universal form, and they were like also disturbed to see why is Krishna showing this universal form, and in the chapter 10 beginning, he says, Krishna says that the opulences I'm going to tell, even the great demigods also doesn't know, because they all came after. And somebody who is before us, we don't know much details about them, right? But if they tell, they will know. But if somebody came after us, we see them always, so we know what they did and all. So same thing here. When they saw all this that were there, they were shocked and they were surprised and they were disturbed also to see that great universal form. Ami cha tvam dhritarashtrasya putraha
अमी च त्वां धृतराष्ट्रस्य पुत्राः
सर्वे सहैवावनिपालसङ्गैः
सर्वे सहैवावनिपालसङ्गैः
भीष्मो द्रोणसुता पुत्रस्तथासौ
भीष्मो द्रोणस्तुता पुत्र तथास्तु
सहास्मदीयैरपि योधमुख्यैः
सहास्मादीयैरपि योधमुख्यैः
वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमाणा विशन्ति
वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमाणा विशन्ति
दंष्ट्राकरालानि भयानकानि
संस्राकलानि भयानकानि
केचिद्विलग्ना दशनानुतारेषु
केचित् विलग्ना दशनानुतारेषु
दशनान्तरेषु
दशनान्तरेषु
सन्दृश्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गैः
सन्दृश्यन्ते पूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गैः.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
All the sons of
Go ahead.
Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth.
So you can see, Arjuna can see present, past, and future. In the future, what happened, he already knew now. What happened? All the Kauravas, even great generals and great people like Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, everyone, they were getting crushed in the between the teeth of those universal form, different faces that are there. आख्या हि मे को भवान उग्र रूपो
आख्याहि मे को
Rupo.
नमोस्तु ते देववर प्रसीद
नमोऽस्तु
Devavara
प्रसीद
Prasida.
विघ्नातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यम्
विघ्नातुम् इच्छामि
Vinatumi
भवन्तम्
Bhagavantam
आद्यम्
न
Adya.
हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम्
न हि प्रजानामि
Janami Tava
प्रवृत्तिम्
Pravartim.
O Lord of Lords, the faces are formed. Please tell me who I offer my obeisance unto you. Please be gracious to me. Lord, a family Lord, I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is.
Jayadi, thank you.
What it is.
So what now Arjuna is asking, there are also some verses in between. He says, after seeing that, he says, "Oh Krishna, I did not know about your these opulences. I jokingly, I said, oh Yadava, oh Krishna, come and sit next to me. Like we played like friends, and I was also sometimes in jovial mood was making fun of you like that and all." So now he realizes what Krishna, who is actually Krishna, with looking at the all opulences. And now he wants to understand what is going on. Why are you here? What is your mission? Why did you come? Shri Bhagavan Vacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Kalosmi Lokakshaya Krit Pravruddho
Kalasmi
कालक्षयकृतप्रवृद्धो
Lokan Samahartumiha Pravrittaha
Lokan
लोकान्
समाहर्तुम् इह
समाहर्तुमिह
Kritepi Tvam na bhavisyanti sarve
प्रवृत्तेऽपि त्वां न
Swana
भविष्यन्ति सर्वे
Bhavishyati.
Ye avastita pratyanekeshu ryodah.
ये
Eva
अस्थिताः
Sritam Pratyate
प्रत्येकेषु योधाः
Translation, anyone?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time, I am the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas, and all soldiers here on both sides will be slain."
Thank you. So what now? This is one of the words that was misused by some Westerners, where they repeat saying, "Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds." But essentially, what Krishna is saying is, why did he come here? यथा यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमाधर्मस्य तदात्मा सृजामि. Whenever there is a decline in religion and there is a uptick in religion, he comes to reestablish. So in this case, he came to kill all these people who have been a burden for the planet Earth, where Mother Earth goes and um, puts her request before Vishnu, saying that, "Oh Vishnu, like I am not able to bear the burden of this adharma that is happening." We might think that okay, when we say that Earth is not burdened by the amount of population. Why? Because are we getting any additional mass from external outside space into Earth? It is the same, the Panchabhutas that we take from the Earth. The body is created and go back to the Earth. So the entire mass is still the same. So when we say the earth is burdened, it is not because of the population, but because of the adharma, the bad deeds done by the population. Uh, so at the time, the Kauravas were doing all these other, doing this irreligion, and that's why she was not able to handle that, and she goes and puts a request, and then Vishnu says, "In time, I will come." And when he's so when you are in an office and somebody comes and requests you, and you say, "I'm going to help them," and you go try to help them in your the way you are at your home, they will still recognize you. It is you only, right? You don't have to go and tie shoes like that and to help the person, even though the person came. So in this case, even if the earth, Mother Earth went and put the request to Vishnu, this Krishna who came, he himself came, and he established all that dharma by eliminating all these people who are fighting on the side of adharma. तस्मात् त्वम् उत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व
तस्मात् त्वम् उत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व
जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम्
जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम्
मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव
मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव
निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचीन्.
निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्.
Yeah, anyone want to read the translation?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Jay, thank you, Mataji. So this is an important verse in Bhagavad Gita. It is kind of mentioned that this is also a, an verse that reveals the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because once we bring Krishna into our life, everything is already taken care by him. But he is still, like, Krishna's mood is he can do everything by himself. But why does he do through the devotees? Because he wants to glorify them. Because he wants the devotees to be glorified by others. Because in this case, he could have just come, you can take this Sudarshan Chakra and kill all these Kauravas in one go. But how then can Arjuna or Yudhishthira, how will we studying about Arjuna, their glories about Arjuna, Bhima, Yudhishthira, Pandavas? Because it is Krishna is there behind them and giving them that benefit or the glory. In this case also, what Krishna, once we bring Krishna into our life, Krishna will make us glorified by others. He will make us glorious in front of others. And what all we have to do is we have to, and Krishna is saying is Nimitta Matram Bhava Savyasachi. Just become an instrument. And Savyasachin means what? A person who is expert in shooting arrows. And Arjuna's strength is he's a greatest archer. Like he can shoot the arrows with more precision than anyone. Like when everybody was when they were young, Dronacharya was putting a test to see who is going to be a great archer. So he calls everyone and he points to a tree and he says, "What do you see in the tree?" And everybody is like, "Oh, I see the tree, I see the branches, I see leaves." And Arjuna is saying, "I see on the tree and he asks Arjuna, "What do you see? Are you seeing a tree? No. Are you seeing the branches? No. Are you seeing leaves? No. Are you seeing a bird? No. What are you seeing then? I'm seeing the eye of the bird. That is what my aim is." So then Dronacharya understands that it is Arjuna who is great in archery because the focus is laser focused. And each and every one of us has a strength. In the material world, we can understand we might be great at doing some activities. We might be great cook. We might be great take care of planning purposes. We might be so we have to become an instrument. Once we understand what is our strength, and if we dedicate that strength to Krishna, then Krishna will make us glorified automatically. अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा
अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा
भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे
भयेन च
प्रव्यथितं
प्रव्यथितं मनो मे
मनो मे
तदेव मे दर्शय देवरूपम्
तदेव मे
मे
दर्शय
दर्शय
देवरूपम्
देवरूपम्
प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास
प्रसीद
प्रसीद
देवेश जगन्निवास
Translation, anyone?
After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So what Arjuna is saying that, okay, Arjuna, I asked you to show the universal form. Thank you for showing, but looking at your universal form, I am disturbed and I fear. It is very fearful. So can you please reveal again your actual form as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the Lords? And this is what the Acharyas also say. People who claim that I am the Supreme Lord, I am the avatar of the Supreme Lord. If someone claims that, don't blindly believe. Just go and ask them, sir, if you are the Supreme Lord, can you please show me your universal form? At least some opulence that you have. And if they cannot show, then they are fake. We should stay away from them. So why is Arjuna asking? Another reason is this. There could be so many people coming after Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga claiming that they are Lord. But in order to put a criteria or a qualification for someone to be an avatar of the Supreme Lord, they cannot just say that they are the Supreme Lord. They have to show their opulence. And just like Krishna was able to show his entire, all his universal form, the entire opulence that he has, no, and again, it's not entire opulence. Remember, he says in chapter 10, it is only a partial that he shows. So this universal form is also a temporary form. It is not from the spiritual world. This universal form is all the form that consolidates or shows all this material manifestation in one place. But the spiritual world, there are unlimited other forms. Okay. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam
Kiritinam
दिनं चक्रहस्तम्
इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुमहं तथैव
इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुम् अहं तथैव
तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन
तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन
सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते
सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते
Translation even. Okay, I will read. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. So, what form he is now asking? He's again asking to see the Narayana form, because he knows that Krishna is Narayana himself. And then Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form. And at last he showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. Arjuna was afraid, right? So he shows both his Narayana form as well as the two-handed form. After showing the Narayana form, at last he comes back to his two-handed form. And when Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind and I am restored to my original nature. So even after seeing Narayana form, he was longing to see the two-handed form, the human-like form. As soon as Krishna showed his human-like form, he got back his composure and he was now not very afraid anymore. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is the greatness of this two-handed form? We might think that anything, we are humans, right? And we are not so powerful. And we think that anything that looks like us may not be the Lord. But it turns out it is the actual human-like form that is the original source. And even in other religious scriptures, it is said that man is made from the image of God, right? There is a truth behind it. It is ultimately the first form is this Krishna Trivangi 200 form, and from him comes the Narayana form, the 400, and from him comes the other avatars and all the Purusha expansions. So that is what Krishna is revealing now. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, this form of mine that you are seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is very so dear. Because it is that original primordial form, even the demigods don't get the opportunity to see that very easily. But with the blessing, with the mercy, or with that Arjuna was able to, with I mean, with the time that during the Upper that Krishna appeared, even at the time, all the demigods got the opportunity to see Krishna in his original form. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So even he's saying that the Divya Chakshushu that you have is making you see the two-handed form in full glory, like what Arjuna was able to see. So which means that even though Krishna came in his two-handed form, not everyone is able to see that his complete opulence in the two-handed form, because they are still covered by the Yoga Maya or Mahamaya, the energy of the Supreme Lord, where they will not be able to see. Unless and until Krishna wants to reveal himself, whether it is in the two-handed form or the four-handed form or the universal form, we cannot see. And the only way for us to see is put some effort and get qualified. And he concludes the chapter by telling that how we can get that mercy. Bhaktya tvananyas ananyaya shakya
Bhaktya
Ananya
ananyaya sakya
ahamevam vido arjuna.
aham evam vido arjuna.
If anyone wants to read the translation, they can read. I mean the verse. Okay. Gnatum drashtum cha tatvena
Matum
Tatvena
Drashtatvena
praveshtum cha parantapa.
pravestum cha parantapa.
Parantara.
Translation, anyone?
My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can be understood as I am standing before you. I can thus be seen directly. Only in this way you can enter the mysteries of my understanding.
Jai, thank you so much for reading. So what the secret is? We have to have that Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means unalloyed devotion. Undivided devotion means there is no other thing. But once we reach that level, then Krishna will reveal himself, and then we'll be able to see directly Krishna himself. Mat karma krin mat paramo
Matkarma
Matkarma Matkarma
mad bhakta sanga varjitaha
Madbhakta Sangavarjitaha
Madhvarjitata
nirvaira sarva bhuteshu
Nirvaira Sarva Bhuteshu
yasamamti pandava.
Yasamamiti Pandava.
This is the last verse in this chapter. Anyone wants to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me.
Jai, thank you. Prabhuji. So, other important thing we have to be is we have to be friendly to every living entity. So, Krishna is the Aham Bija Pradapita, he says in the next chapter, coming chapters. If you take a family, right, you have, let's say there are 4 or 5 kids in the family. If one person is causing misery to the other person, will the parents like the kid?
No.
No, because if the kid is, even though the kid is not showing special love for the parents, but he is so nice, so kind to all the other siblings, and so his behavior is so nice, wouldn't the parents love him automatically?
Yes.
They do, right? So same thing. If we are engaged in devotional service and if we are kind to everyone in this world, and pure devotional service means we are not contaminated by the desires. Oh, Krishna, give me this. I will give you this because if you give me this, that kind of not transactional. And mental speculation. Krishna, I want to know you. I will read this. So you don't. Krishna is telling you, just engage. Give me a little flower fruit with devotion, and I will give you everything that you need. And he's saying, Yogakshemam Vaham Yaham. I am going to come and give you what you lack and preserve what you have. But still, why you want to waste time on mental speculation, reading Vedas and all? But essentially he's saying that one who makes that supreme goal, everyone, like, think of it this way, right? We have so many goals. My goal is like one somebody may say my goal is to build a big house. Some people might say to get to reach the CIO level or CEO level. These goals are great, but those are our material goals. The supreme goal we should all have, that essentially I want to anything I achieve in this world, my misery is not going away. And even if the misery is not there now, we have to look at all the people around us. Are the people, anybody staying permanently in this world? Is anybody staying without having some material problems, health problems, or wealth problems, or those things? No, right? So then, how we think we are the exception? And then there are so many people who are living their life within, we see them right away and we think that they'll be living for some more time, but all of a sudden they are leaving their body because something happens to them suddenly. And actually, um, when Pandavas were in doing Vanavas, they go to a river to fetch some water, and there is a yaksha living in that, who took that river as the shelter, and he's living there. All the four Pandavas, they go and they don't come back. One after other, they are going and they don't come back. So one Pandava goes. Finally, Yudhishthira goes and he sees that all the other four Pandavas lying there dead, and or at least some unconscious. And he asks who has done that, and the Yaksha appears saying that this is my shelter, and they came to drink the water. They were not able to answer the questions, but if you can answer my questions, I'm going to bring you all your four brothers back. So they go on asking different, Yaksha asks so many questions. That's why it's called Yaksha Prashnas, right? Do anyone heard that Yaksha Prashna? They say so. Means Prashna means a question.
Yes.
Yaksha was asking that, and Yudhishthira was answering all the questions. One of the questions Yaksha asks is, "What is the most fascinating thing for you in this world?" And Yudhishthira says that the most fascinating thing for me is we see so many people around us struggling their life and finally dying, but we always think that that is not going to be me. That is, I have more time, I have more time. And that is so fascinating because nobody has time in this world. And anything can happen anytime. We just have to make sure that we put the supreme goal, our Krishna consciousness, as the ultimate goal. We should not plan to stay here more. And finally, we have to always be loving and friendly to all the rest of the living entities, because Krishna is saying that he is present in every living being. And if somebody is doing a bad thing, we have to understand that it is Paramatma sitting within the heart, and Paramatma's feature, as Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu we discussed, is impartial. They might be having those desires, and Krishna is fulfilling those desires through Paramatma feature. But we have to see Krishna only, and instead of hating them, what we can say is, "Oh Krishna, why is this person doing this way?" Just go to Krishna for everything, and he will take care. And the way for Krishna to start manifesting in our life is we have to do devotional service. We have to chant. And Krishna showed his universal form, a partial universal form to Mother Yashoda also, right? Because she is unalloyed devotee. Whenever he wants to reveal, he will reveal. And in this chapter, in verse 36, Arjuna is glorifying Krishna. He says, "O Master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you." So how we can get attachment towards Krishna is by hearing Krishna's name. Means we have to just take the chanting. All of you, please get chanting beats. Start chanting. Just, it's very simple. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With some little faith, if you start chanting, then you took one step towards Krishna. Krishna is just waiting for us to take that first step. Once we take one step, Krishna is going to take 10 steps, even 100 steps towards us. That one step is what is stopping us. That one step is doing the chanting. Once we do that, then we start seeing Krishna's manifestation or Krishna's presence in our life. Any questions before we close today's session?
Yeah, Prabhuji, in the 10th chapter, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. In the 10th chapter, actually, one of the shloka is actually, 1 second, Prabhuji.
Okay, so the recording will be long. I will not be able to upload, so I will stop the recording, but we can discuss the question. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji. My question is actually in the 10th chapter, Krishna, Krishna says, Vrishinaam Vasudevosmi Pandavanaam Dhananjayah. So then the second line is Muninapyaham Vyasaha Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. So this just I want to understand when he says Vrishinam Vasudevosmi, among the Vrishis, I am the Vasudeva, but Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Among Pandavas, I am Dhananjaya. So as you said here, Krishna is actually we accept accept Krishna as the Paramaguru, and so we can accept Dhananjaya or Arjuna, like we through Arjuna is asking questions, but it's actually for us actually. So we can
Yes.
identify ourselves with Dhananjaya, Arjuna. So here he says, I am Dhananjaya. I mean, among Pandavas, I am Dhananjaya. So how can we understand this? And then the next one when he actually shows his universal form and all that.
That is the Achintya Bheda Veda philosophy, which we are all one and the same, and we are also different. So we are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. We take a hand in our body, these fingers are all me. So when this finger is me, right, this body is me, but the whole body is Krishna. So in the spiritual world, we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. There is no difference between us. But at the same time, it is finger and this is the body, right? That is the Achintya Veda Veda. So it is all Krishna and his energies. The living entities are the marginal potency, right? The three potencies are internal potency, external potency, and the individual, the marginal potency, the living entities. The living entities can be in the spiritual world or can be in the material world. If they are in the in the spiritual world, they are all parts and parcels of Krishna. There is essentially no difference. At the same time, the distinction where we make with the Advaita philosophy is that individuality will still be retained. The individuality is not completely gone. That is the main difference. If you see, there is so much arguments of fighting going on. But once you go into the spiritual world, they say that our individuality is lost. We say that our individuality will still be there, always engaged in service of Krishna, because our desires are completely aligned to Krishna. There is no desires separate from Krishna, independent. The moment we have any desires independent of Krishna, which means that this finger is separated from the body, then automatically we are in the material world. So even in the material world, it is Krishna only with his material as Paramatma. He is animating everything, right? So everything that is in this, whether it in the spiritual world or material world, is Krishna's energy only. And he is telling that he is Vrishni, he is Vasudeva. In here, even we can take it as he is saying that he is Balarama also, because when we say he is the Vrishni in the Vrishni dynasty, he is Vasudeva. Both Balarama and Krishna are son of Vasudeva. But Balarama is the elder. And if we look at it from the spiritual standpoint, these are all like a little more detailed topics, where when Krishna first expands as Balarama and then he expands as four Sankarsana, Niruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. Those are the Chaturbhuja expansions, Chaturvyuha expansions. So these are all the topics which will come into when we start doing more and more. This knowledge, even we tell, it will not, our mind will not be able to wrap it. But essentially, he is telling that he is Arjuna himself, because Naranarayana rishis are the people who are the divine. They are from the spiritual world and they are in the material world taking different avatars. And in that Dwapara Yuga, they are Krishna and Arjuna. right? So Krishna is essentially saying he's everything as an
Yes.
opulence.
Thank you, Prabhuji. But just one thing is, when you say the individuality is not lost, so then how can we understand when Krishna says in Sankhya Yoga, his second chapter, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavakaha. So Nainam Na Chainam Kledayanti Atma Shoshyati Martha. Like only when you have, like when there is like the gross body, only that any weapon can touch and the wind can touch. And like I mean, only the gross body, the wind, and even the subtle body also can touch. But Atma, he has no body.
Exactly. And
So
that
then,
is what we can use it to also answer that. Because Krishna is saying the soul doesn't die, right? The soul has no death. Nothing can um, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani means nothing can cut it as a weapon. And Nainam Dahati Pava, it cannot be burned by fire. Nachainam Kledayantapu. So it cannot be withered by wind or wet. So the soul is immutable. And if we say that our individuality is lost, as well, like the other philosophies, like whether it is Buddhist philosophy, Nirvana, or other thing, that goes against that verse. So essentially, when we go into the spiritual world, the soul will still be there. If we say that soul loses its existence, that goes against that. That's what we say, that the soul is always there, whether it is in this material world or in the spiritual world. When it is in the material world, that soul is encaged by this gross and subtle body. But once it goes to the spiritual world, that engagement is not there and it is attached to Krishna's body. And the example that Prabhupada gives is a great analogy, which is a green bird entering into a green tree. When you see from far away, from this material world, if you are seeing, you can see only the tree, you cannot see the bird within. But when you go nearer and nearer and nearer, you will still see that there is still the bird inside the tree. So even though we go to the Vaikuntha planets, our soul is still there. It's not that our soul loses existence once it gets moksha.
so Prabhuji, then also in the 10th chapter, Krishna says, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Sthita. So when he is the Atma, so is the Atma in me and you and others, is he different Atma or the same Atma?
So that is Brahman. So Atma and Brahman is the same. That is the understanding we have to understand, right? Vadanti tat tattvasvedas tattvam yat gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. So the Atma and Brahman. So when the Upanishads say that when the Upanishads make no distinction between Atma and the Supreme Lord, they are talking about Brahman. So the Brahman and the Atma are the same. The Atma is nothing but a particle of Brahman. And but that we can, depending upon our desire, we can get different kind of liberation. If our liberation is to just get away from this material world and we are not too worried about the Vaikuntha planets. So think of it, the analogy is this material world is mentioned as Durgam, means it is like a prison, and Mother Durga is the jailer. Um, if we are in the jail, when we get released, we can be put outside the gate of the jail, right? The jail people will only open the door and they will make you go outside. After we come outside, the jail doesn't care where we are. Same thing. If our goal is to just get out of this material world, we can do this Jnana Yoga and understand that this material world is temporary and we can get out. And once we get out, our soul is still there. So we get merged into the Brahma Jyoti. When there is sunlight, you cannot, um, it's all bright. Everything you see, there is light. But within the sunlight, there are different photons. Similarly, in the Brahma Jyoti, all our people who are liberated, those Atmas are all there. And it's from the outside perspective, you cannot make any distinction between this Atma, that Atma. But essentially, there are still just like the photons are there in the sunlight, these Atmas are there in the Brahman. But the next level of understanding is it is the Paramatma and Bhagavan, which means that after we get out of the jail, there are like other many kingdoms, forts outside the jail. These are the Vaikuntha planets, where if we are qualified, the Jaya and Vijaya, these gatekeepers, they can allow us and take it inside, and that is possible if we take devotional service.
Thank you,
So
Prabhuji.
Yeah, so basically, this is where the contention point is. Some people might say that we don't care what happens in the spiritual world, we just want to get out of the material world. And but some people they say that getting out, yeah. So in Bhagavatam, it is also said that I don't remember the verse, but even going to Brahmajyoti, the problem is just like in the sky, right? The cloud is moving around the sky. So this whole material manifestation is like the Mahatattva, and behind it is all the Brahman, right, which is agitated by the Mahatattva. Even if we are getting out of this material world, we still will not be permanently happy either. We intentionally want to go back, so we again fall down, seeking more shelter. Or sometimes, just like a water, sometimes brings more things and wets more things in the shore. The living entities, even though they go to Brahmajyoti, may again fall down into the material. That is the risk. But if we take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, which we go inside a Vaikuntha planet, there is absolutely no chance that we again fall down into the material. Okay. Hope that clarifies or answers the question.
Yeah, I think each of this has to be internally realized only.
Exactly. Yes.
Before you can make any comment.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Great realization also you mentioned. People will say that all paths lead to the same destination. It's no, because if you buy a ticket to New York from a flight ticket, and if you take the flight for say South America, Argentina, will you go to Argentina or will you go to New York? Will you go to Argentina? So even getting out of this material world, the liberation also, there are 5 types of liberation. Depending upon the process we take, we get a different destination. Although we can all say that all these destinations in the spiritual world are one, but essentially, if we go into details, we can get a Brahmajyoti liberation, or we can get a Vaikuntha liberation. Even Vaikuntha, we might want to go to Ayodhya with Lord Ram, or we can go to Golaka Vrindavan with Krishna, or we can go to Narasimha planet. So there are so many processes and so many ways, but essentially devotional service will be giving us a shelter on one of the Vaikuntha planets. Other processes will not. So that's why we recommend that please take to the devotional service, which is going to give us a solution to these problems permanently. But like you said, yes, it is a permanent realization. We have been going through this lifetimes in this material world, lifetime after lifetime, and sooner or later we will come to all to the same realization. And initially we might argue, we might fight, we say that mine is correct, but whoever has the mercy will get the ultimate realization.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for all the questions. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, if not, we'll say Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times and close today's session. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा की जय, श्रीमद् भगवती गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, ऑल ग्लोरी टू कृष्ण, हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरी टू वैष्णव
Hare
devotees,
Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण,
Krishna.
थैंक यू एवरीवन, हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.